Now that Lim Kit Siang has stepped down yesterday, do you think it's time for Anwar to step down as well and pass on the baton, especially as people recently have started to question whether he is still relevant?
I think this general election, if Anwar steps down now, you open a Pandora's box about who is the best Prime Minister candidate going into the next general election. In fact, that has been the one issue that has glued opposition for almost 2 decades to bring us to where we are today. So, irrespective of what people say about Anwar Ibrahim, especially after what had happened in the last 2 or 3 years, the fact remains that he is still the best Prime Minister candidate going into the next general election for Pakatan Harapan. Because if you open the box for another Prime Minister candidate, most probably there's no end to the bickering. Everyone has their own opinion, and then not a single one person will be able to command the respect of the 3 parties. So on that basis, that's where I think what we should focus is how to align the narrative of PKR and Pakatan Harapan to appeal to the fence-sitters. Because it has been a chicken and egg even for him, Anwar Ibrahim. On the one hand, I suppose there has been internal and external pressure, intra-party within Pakatan Harapan to get back to government. So, on the one hand, there has been a pressure for Anwar to be able to deliver the vote, so to speak, to get back to government. There has been the pressure from Pakatan supporters out there to see Pakatan to go back to parliament. On the other hand, when he has to try to navigate to deliver that, you can't run away from talking to UMNO, talking to other parties, because the composition of parliament at the moment is as such that no single party can form a government without talking to, different parties with different personalities and principles. So it has been almost like a merry-go-round trying to sort this problem. I'm not saying this because I think, Anwar should not take the responsibility. I think part of the responsibility was his. But at the same time, to say that the whole failure of Pakatan Harapan in the last few elections was purely because of Anwar Ibrahim is also unfair.
How do you overcome the narrative, the perception that Anwar failed, especially when he promised to do a strong formidable majority? How do you overcome that? Because it sticks to people's minds. Every time you talk about Anwar, Prime Minister,
that's why most probably we shouldn't talk about Prime Ministership. That's my point. I don't think we should really talk about Prime Ministership. I think this is, people disagree with me all the way back since 2017, 2018. A lot of the urban voters, being more, on the beat about politics, feel that if you want to win, you must talk about Prime Minister. Who is your Prime Minister? Try to talk to the younger ones, first-time voters, the so-called economic voters. They don't actually pay attention that much. To them, they're all the same. We have changed 3 Prime Ministers. We still can't sort out harga telur. I mean, that's true, So to the people in Singapore Embassy, the normal, these normal people, it doesn't make any difference to them. So they vote by the sheer excitement that there can be something worthwhile that may come out of these people. They vote out of the belief that these people are sincere about what they want to do. They vote out of the excitement that I think these people are competent. They teach me certain things I don't know. They teach me beyond rhetorics. Those are the kind of things that appeal to the younger set of voters, the economic voters, not really about who is the Prime Minister. If we set the narrative about this is how we're going to help you. This is how things are not working. And we showcase brand new sets of younger leadership who look more competent and who don't play old broken records about 1MDB, about all and so on, but Najib, who looks very hands-on about the problem. We may just convince them enough to vote the party, not the idea about they will form a government and so on. And I think the public wants to see some sincerity rather than pointing fingers. That I think is perhaps what we can offer now. And hopefully if we can fix the narrative, if we can convince the fence-sitters again that yes, we have learned our lesson, we are going to do better, and we have, and if we say that we have better candidates and politicians, we better prove it. It cannot just be and say that we are better than UMNO or we are better than PN. People actually want to see us truly being better, and they expect a much higher performance from our leadership. It's not enough to say, just because I'm not BN and not supporting Najib, and therefore I'm better. It doesn't work like that anymore. It might have worked in 2018, but not anymore, So those are the kind of things that I think there are a lot of rooms that we can improve. So rather than going into this endless debate about who will be the Prime Minister that can deliver us the election, we better accept that it is not about a personality. We have made that mistake before in 2018. Some people, some factions in Pakatan truly believe that just by signing up Mahathir, he will deliver the result. After the election, they also truly believe the election was won because of Mahathir, and they kowtowed to Mahathir throughout. Even when from the very beginning, it was very obvious that Mahathir was not really interested about the reform agenda and delivery. Mahathir was preoccupied for 2 years about how to address the power imbalance within Pakatan to make sure that Bersatu, from being the smallest party, to become the most powerful. If we repeat that again, which is the preoccupation with the personality, this is not going to end. So the best way to appeal to the public is to win on a very sound policy platform, which are carried by, a lot of credible people.